Hey guys, thanks for joining us for another Nerdcore discussion video. My name is Ed.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Ray.
We are Nerdcore. Okay, today we are going to be talking about underrated movies. Movies that have kind of gone under the radar and haven't really gotten that much attention, especially the kind they deserve. So Mike, what would be your top choice of underrated movie?
While there's so many movies that are underrated to me, I have to say there's one that stuck out because of how impressive it was with the micro budget that it had. It's a little indie movie called The Battery, about a zombie apocalypse. What impressed me about it is that nothing really that insane happens with it being like a horror zombie apocalypse movie. It's super simple. It played on its good acting, really small cast with two people kind of following the travels of two strangers.
Now, what really impressed me about this movie is it's about the toll that it takes on a human being one of the only people left after this scourge has swept the earth. You know, and when you think about a zombie film, you really don't think that about that, but it really should have it would have a serious mental toll.
Yeah, not necessarily focusing on the action or even the zombies for that matter.
The Walking Dead, for instance, where it's such a high budgeted project, and they're focusing on that human aspect to it. I think that this does it so much better.
I think that's where The Walking Dead fails at that.
Yeah, The Walking Dead, I stopped watching The Walking Dead pretty early on, but this is just, I was amazed watching it. The music is absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. The thing about that movie is like everything was super indie. I think even the artists that he found to do the music were just indie artists from, I don't know.
I think it was sort of locally around.
Yeah, like that, like he was kind of just like really paying it forward with the whole local and,
some great scenes in there that they build the momentum up a lot, and these actors are no names, for right now. I mean, and like I said, there's two people really in the movie.
And the actor, one of the leads was actually the director of the movie.
If I personally had to have a negative about it, I would just say it was the not the main guy, like the second, not the director, the other guy. His acting wasn't necessarily. It just didn't keep up, I think, as well as the main guys.
Yeah, the other guy definitely.
He definitely was.
It wasn't to that caliber of that guy. That guy had a lot of charisma.
Just his day-to-day, his day-to-day things that he did was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It felt believable. Like his character felt believable. You felt that he was just living in this world, and he was just dealing with the problem. Because I mean, you think about like a zombie apocalypse. Everyone thinks bashing zombies' heads in, Well, it's not really so much about the zombies. It's the collapse of our world, and no one's in it, but everything is still there except for the people. And I love when they base it on those kind of things. It's like, who do we become? How do we go day by day?
That was the whole thing with the two leads. Was the one guy, the director, who was the better actor. Mm-hmm. He was kind of the guy who was thrust into this world, and he found a way to be okay with it and kind of mold himself to live that life, while the other guy kind of lost his shit a little bit, was losing his shit a little bit. He had to, in the movie, he had to keep headphones on playing a playlist because he just couldn't deal with the silence of the world.
Or even the sounds of the zombies.
The sounds of the zombies, yeah. And it was cool because the guy actually made a comment. He was like, you better take those things off. Those things are going to get you killed. But he's just constantly, he's not accepting the world that he's in. Cool.
And they can even say, especially the very end scene, obviously spoilers, guys. But the end scene, the car scene that went on for, I think, what was it, like 15?
Yeah, it went on for a good 15 minutes.
It went on for a while, and it was just never once you get bored. And we talked about this in our Tarantino video about keeping the scene.
Right.
Keeping a simple scene exciting. Yeah.
And this is even smaller. It's the trunk of a car.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the car. And zombies are out just rattling and just moaning and stuff like that. And
singing the Jaws song.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was really cool.
Nice.
You could tell that these guys were fans. Mm-hmm. They were fans of the genre and wanted to make a movie.
It definitely goes to show you that if you have an idea in your head,
and you're good, and you got skill,
and you have the eye for it, and let's you want to make a zombie movie. Most people would think like, oh, well, you got to have tons and tons of extras for zombies and stuff like that. They didn't have any of that shit. Besides that car scene where there were a bunch of zombies that you didn't really even see like the makeup of, but you just a bunch of zombies up against a car, trying to get in. Throughout the movie, you probably saw like 3-4 zombies scattered throughout the film.
Yeah. That's it.
But it didn't even like it was so sparingly, and you were okay with that watching the movie because you're just really watching the journey of these two characters. All right, so that's my pick. I'll pass the question off to you, Ray. What is one of the most underrated films that you've ever seen?
It was a while ago, but really struck me as and it was out of nowhere, so it was one of my favorite movies, but it is called Running Scared. It is the 2006 version with Paul Walker. I know I don't know if
there was one with Billy. I think
there
there was one with Billy Crystal back, but there's no relation.
Right,
It's not a remake or
sure
anything.
Yeah. But yeah, 2006, Paul Walker, rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace, man.
So the movie's about a guy named Joey Gazelle who has some relationship with the mob, and he tries to stash a dirty gun, and his son's friend ended up stealing it from his basement and shooting his stepdad. So it creates this whole mess of things. And the kid takes off, and Joey Gazelle finds out about this, and now there's a huge rush to recover the gun and try to, make sure that his family and himself are safe from the mob that, he tried to stash the gun. Either way, the movie was just fantastic all the way through. It really played on once the shit hit the fan, it really played on like comic bookness. It had a lot of scenes that, they were completely out of the ordinary and not really realistic, but they were almost, because a lot of times you were following the kid. And it was almost through the eyes of the kid, like, it was almost more scary. And more,
yeah.
Like,
I never thought of it like that.
Like when there's a bum, like some kind of crack house or something.
He comes off as like such a mysterious villain.
Like this quick movement, and like I don't know what they did, but like the special effects were just perfect. But it was just sprinkled in there.
It wasn't just like your normal like mobster movie.
Right.
Not at all.
It had this creativeness.
Kind of a fairy tale story.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like a mob fairy tale story, and like you said, the comics, they had like little clips and almost got comic cartoony in a sense when they had like that stuff. Because like you said, the bum, that one for the most part, but then it went
even in the bedroom scene. I think it's playing behind us. Yeah, in this one, when the kids first kind of figuring out that it's a weird environment, you keep seeing.
Oh yeah, you're seeing the shadows in the back, and it was so it was like their shadows were so accentuated.
But those were supposed to be those two parents, but that's just like.
You saw it like their fingernails were all it was like a witch or like a goblins or something behind
it. It all seemed like it was from his perspective.
Right. So in a kid's perspective, it's like you're making
Yeah.
Some of my favorite movies are the old classic gangster movies. The Godfather,
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, and Mr. Pink.
Reservoir Dogs.
Dogs. Kind of, right?
Yeah, it's a bit gangster movie.
A little bit.
But yeah, those type of
True Romance
gangster movies were True Romance. They were like some of my favorite movies back in the day. So to mix that with this somewhat fantasy world,
I assumed that movie came from maybe a comic book, a graphic novel or something like that, just the way it's done, because a lot of times movies have been
by something.
It
wasn't right.
It wasn't. It was that was all his idea.
Guarantee half of you out there have not seen Running Scared
for sure, and guarantee half of you would like it. It's kind of a classic for us, at least. And
so we're kind of stuck with it.
Everyone else, it should be a classic.
You definitely
Please, if you haven't gone out there, see that Freddie Mercury. And also, the movie will give you fantastic, memorable quotes, such as Ray, please.
Hey, have a Mai Tai on me, eh?
Says it all the time.
It's my favorite line.
It's obnoxious, but we like it.
So, moving forward, Ed, what is your most underrated film to date?
My top underrated choice is a recent movie called Bone Tomahawk, starring Kurt Russell, Patrick Wilson, a bunch of other people too. The director, I'm not sure of his name, but the story basically is about an old western town, and the sheriff is Kurt Russell, and he gets news that there is some some villagers missing, and they have to go out into the desert and try to rescue them. It's sort of a mashup between western, true western, and then it begins to morph into a horror movie, and the blend is perfect. I'm a fan of both westerns and horror movies, so it was just so well done, and it really just came out of nowhere. Came out right before The Hateful Eight, so Kurt Russell still had that badass beard and mustache that he has in the movie. You can tell Kurt Russell was still, into the western type thing. He's done a bunch of westerns, so I guess he was still in the mood. Decided to blow that one out there too. And I don't remember any, talk about the movie. Didn't come out in theaters. Out of nowhere, I see it on TV. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna check that movie out, and I'm so glad I did. Very long movie, kind of slow, but never boring, ever. And when the story begins to morph into its horror form, the latter part of the movie is when they meet the natives, and the natives are these cannibalistic, even the worst among the other tribes around there. They just give a little tidbit about them is they basically cut their tongues out and put these things in their throat, is where they can make this whistling noise where they can communicate with each other. They can't talk, so it's just whistling to each other. Anyway, things go awry as they end up meeting them, and there's some vicious fight scenes and kill scenes. I know Mike had seen the movie. What do you think about that movie, Mike?
I thought it was awesome, and yeah, you're right. It was definitely really, really slow. You hooked me in by saying that it kind of pulled it from dusk till dawn. As far as the mood change, you know what I mean? Like, you think you're watching, you know something's gonna happen. It goes from like this slow-paced, serious Western film, very heavy on the acting and performances and dialogue, to when it gets to that moment and that final act where shit just hits the fan. We recently just saw Brawl on Cell Block 99.
Yes.
Which is, you have to see that movie. It's by the same director.
He's the same director?
Yeah.
I had no idea, but now I see it. Now
He doesn't rely on music. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's getting murdered, and they don't do the lead up, the cop out music that just to match up with that. It's like boom, something happens. You know what I mean? It's silence, it makes it a lot more eerie.
And when the brutal scenes happen, it's just like you said, there is no music, so it's just happening, which seems almost realistic because that's how a brutal scene would happen. There'd be no music in real life.
Right.
And I mean, it's just so visceral because it's just breaking apart
Yeah.
the human body.
Which is such a scary antagonist. Those guys were fucking creepy as hell. They
So
were
creepy.
big and they were intimidating, and I would never want to be stuck in a room with one of these guys on my ass. Like, they were horrifying, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, everything about the movie that I was very pleasantly happy with. The music was great, cinematography was great, and I think it's just the acting and the characters that really sold it too.
Yeah, I mean, for a huge chunk of the movie, it's definitely relies on the performances. Matthew Fox is in it. I haven't seen Matthew Fox in such a long time, and I thought he was fucking awesome.
He was very cool.
Even back from my boyfriend's back. He was in that. And I always forget his name, but his simple partner. He was in Shape of Water too.
Right here, Richard Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins always does
actually
a fucking incredible
he's
job
fantastic.
and everything.
And then Patrick Wilson, the bum leg, almost the entire movie.
I love Patrick Wilson
he's
too.
also very good.
He's
Yeah.
great. He's great to watch.
And then out of nowhere, David Arquette at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Super random.
He was there to die. Kurt Russell's, obviously the good guy. He's like
He's
that.
the guy
he's
you
that.
think he would play. Overboard. Now we should also like the Overboard remake. Did you see the trailer for that?
What?
There's an Overboard remake.
Kurt Russell in it?
No. And they flipped it. It's now the girl.
It's Kurt Russell's
It's
character,
Kurt Russell's character.
and the guy gets thrown overboard.
Yeah.
Of course they did. Of course you did, America. Of course you fucking did. Well, I don't have too much to say because I haven't seen the movie. But, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm with you guys, and I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yes,
so.
check this movie out.
You should too. Yeah, so if you guys have any underrated movies that you think we should check out, please comment below.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe, like, do all that other shit that we do.
And again, troll us.
And troll
Yeah, man,
us.
give us
Troll
some,
us,
give us some
yes.
fucking trolling, dude.
Give us
You
some trolling.
fucking pussy.
Peace, love. No, that's terrible.
We're out for the day. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah!